Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Sean Anderson, Most Valuable Podcast, and the upcoming segment is from our full Fast Break podcast that we recorded. And if you do want to check out that full podcast, head over to Blog Talk Radio /The Fast Break. You'll be able to find the full podcast over there.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And we had the video podcast again. I think it's just going to be a weekly thing, is what Ricky's saying.
I hope so.
We're hoping it's going to be a weekly thing. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously, you can see us. If you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, you downloaded us from Blog Talk Radio. Thank you so much. We got a great show for you. We're talking D. Rose, the controversy in New York. We're talking about who is a number one in the NBA. We had a fast break discussion, and Dave's like, we got to turn the cameras on for this because
seriously,
Ricky,
it was good. It was getting heated up in this.
This was finals reaction Sean versus Ricky moments.
Headset nearly got thrown.
Nearly.
Headset didn't get thrown.
It did get thrown last year, but we got that going on. We got a heated discussion hopefully coming up for that one, and then we're also going to be doing NBA trade rumors, buying or selling topics. So I'm going to throw out some topics out there, and Dave and Ricky are going to try to see through the bullshit of them and either buy the bullshit or sell the bullshit. But let's get in. Derrick Rose, speaking of bullshit, Derrick Rose kind of
just former bullshit.
Well, I'm just saying, that's a good one.
Now it's bullshit in the Knickerbockers.
That's a good one.
Bullshit,
but I'm just talking
bullshit excuses.
But I'm just talking
in
about
the old Knickers.
I'm just talking about, D. Rose just didn't feel like playing. D. Rose just wanted to leave. D. Rose just didn't want to be in New York. He just wanted to go to Chicago real quick.
That's one way to interpret that.
Obviously, there's some circumstances. I think his mother was sick. I've also heard he wanted to go see his son. I heard he was sick. I heard there's a lot going on in D. Rose's life, but D. Rose just didn't show up and didn't tell anyone he wasn't showing up.
This was poor judgment, and I mean, I'm saying that on the fact of I'm going to go with the excuse of, okay, your mom's sick, tell the team. That's what an adult does. You tell the team, they go, okay, D, you can miss the game. We'll say it's a medical excuse. Go take care of your mother. You think Phil Jackson, you think Jeff Hornacek are bad guys where they say, no, you can't do that. You're playing tonight.
He just leaves.
Yeah.
He did get suspended or fined. I'm sorry.
No
he
suspension,
got fined
surprisingly.
$200,000 by the Knicks for missing the game against the Pelicans. But really, the question is one, I'm not that shocked by this at all. I'm not shocked.
It fits the character
By D. Rose doing this, but Ricky is bringing up the question of should Knick fans push out D. Rose? And real quick, I just want to mention we did a topic not too long ago, I believe it was a month ago, saying the Knicks are a disappointment, and everyone's like, oh, you got to redo the video. Nope. The reason we didn't do the video is because the Knicks had a nice spurt, but they're back down to reality. Should Knick fans be pushing out D. Rose? Is the question.
I mean, it's hard because of what options do you have available? Brandon Jennings running that offense. I know. I was a buyer on Brandon Jennings. I thought, hey, this is a guy who's a similar play style to Derrick. It's an easy exchange for the offense. I don't know that there's a whole lot of value for him right now. I mean, if you want to be bold and be like, you know what, Derrick, it's time. Like, you can walk away from the team. It'd be funny. I just thought of this. Derrick and Rondo just.
God, no.
Just a giant F you to the Bulls.
We're not bringing him back to Chicago.
I know.
I mean, he wants to be back in Chicago, apparently.
He wants to be back in Chicago. Rondo doesn't want to play for Chicago.
Well, it's not just that.
I'm surprised he could even go to Memphis for a year.
He's missing the old girlfriend right now. He wants to be back when the times were good in Chicago. But the thing with the Knicks is get rid of Derrick Rose. And the reason being is this is a contract year for Derrick Rose. We expected Derrick Rose to, lights out, contract year. But it's his last year. Do you really think right now, yeah, I know you're about 2 games out of that 8 seed, but it's really something where I think the Knicks could look at it and go, let's try to get something for him. Because it comes down to the question of, are you going to bring him back next year? Probably not with how this team has performed.
Does he want to come back?
And now this. Well, it says here in the ESPN article that Rose hopes that he hasn't impacted his chances of signing with the Knicks beyond the season. But if I'm the Knicks fans, I'm going, you know what? Just get the fuck out of here. You know what? We're not going to bring you back at the end of the year. Let's just trade him, try to get something just so we don't lose him for nothing.
But also the one thing here is I don't think D Rose is going to come out and say, I don't want to be in New York.
Yeah, he's not
going to say that. He's not going to say that. It's like Alshon Jeffrey in the NFL saying the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. He just wants to get the most money.
Then it gives you more of a reason to say, let's try to trade him for anything so that we get him for something.
See, answering the question, should Knicks fans and just should the Knicks want D Rose out of New York? I agree 100%. Yes, I think D Rose is obviously showing he's immature as a 28-year-old.
You guys
has never matured.
You guys are seeing what we were having problems with here in Chicago.
But we didn't see those until really he came back. In 2014,
it's been of late.
But I think it was like 2014.
No, but I'm saying the injury broke him.
Yeah,
we just admit mentally he just regressed.
And that was the one thing is this was brought up too is Katie Nolan was talking about this in her Garbage Time podcast where she was like, if Dak and Zeke lose in the NFC Championship game and they don't handle it well, it's gonna be like, oh, they're not mature. Well, what do you think? What do you expect from 23-year-old kids, 22-year-old kids that haven't really been able to mature? D Rose played a year in college, didn't really have time in college. Everyone was pampered right away in his city as MVP, Rookie of the Year. Everybody loved D Rose. D Rose couldn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then he gets injured, and he kind of probably feels like he let down this team, and he never really matured as an adult because he's never been able to give the chance to. So I think that the one thing is and he's been doing it on such a big stage. So I think D Rose, while I root for D Rose just because of what he's done in Chicago, since he's a Chicago kid, you always want to see people from your hometown do well. But I do think that he is showing that he isn't mature, and D Rose kind of showing that he isn't there mentally. And I think that the Knicks should kind of should push him out, whether it is a trade. I don't, and I'm kind of agreeing with Dave that I don't know what you can really get for D Rose and what his value is.
Brandon Knight.
Anything is better than nothing if he's going to walk away.
But also, do you want to give up the possibility of going to a playoff and just getting a second round for D Rose?
And that's what it comes down to.
You can at least get a playoff berth and sell tickets in the Garden.
Yep.
There's that, and
possibly get CP some national attention, even though New York gets enough.
Or you can say, you know what? We can still compete with the team we got. We don't need Derrick Rose to do that.
But do they think that?
Just let me go on. And you can, even if you miss the playoffs, take your chances in the lottery. And a lottery pick will be better than possibly. Yeah, you can make the playoffs and get to the 8th seed and get rolled by the Cavaliers, but to me, I would take my chances in the draft lottery because it is a lottery. If you're the first team out, are you going to get the number 1 pick? Probably not, but there's a chance. Bulls did it.
And Bulls did it with the Knicks pick. Bulls got that pick for Eddie Curry when they traded him to the Knicks. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I fully understand where you're coming from, especially because New York, I think, their last lottery pick was KP. But, I mean, before that, they really haven't had their lottery pick. And you're telling
me there's not maybe not a championship team because they're going to look at that and go, no, I don't want that anywhere near my team. But a team that's making a run for a playoffs that thinks maybe if we had a backup like Derrick Rose for a year.
A backup like Derrick Rose. Think about where we're saying that.
But currently,
I don't think a team that would use him as a starter would.
He's putting up 17-4-4, and he had a 6-game stretch very recently where he put up 24, 19, 25, 26, 20, and 21. This is not an untalented guy. When he wants it, he turns it on. He is a spark of life for that team, and he still has that superstar.
And that's what I'm saying. A team that
in him, but just not there every night.
A team that could make the playoffs, make a run, and say, "Well, if we had him even as our backup, how good would we?"
But why can't the Knicks think that? The Knicks aren't out of the playoffs yet. The East is terrible. The Wizards are currently in the playoffs right now.
I think the potential upside of him being on your team, and if you can get his mind in a good place for a little bit of time,
because he's a rental.
It doesn't matter if he's a rental. If he's worth it. And they've already paid him the majority of the money. It's not like they can get the money back.
See, that's the thing is, if
there's no value out there for him because of what he's done.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Cleveland is not going to take him on. That's a terrible.
They don't have
idea.
Money to.
They don't have money. They don't have money. But even if they could work it out money wise, I don't think there's a reason they take him on. No. You're going to mess up that championship kind of level. Toronto doesn't need him. Toronto doesn't want him as a backup. He's just going to bring negative energy as a backup. Boston doesn't need him. God. Atlanta doesn't need him. Milwaukee's got Giannis, and their team currently the way
that'd
they're
be the
set
worst
up,
thing for him.
I think it's perfect the way the Bucks are currently set up. You bring in D Rose would be ridiculous. The Pacers don't need him, and the Hornets and Wizards are on the same level as the Knicks, and they already have better point guards. And then the West, really, LA's got a great point guard. Houston's got James Harden. San Antonio might be an outlier if Pop even wants to think about that. I don't know if they could work money wise, but still. San Antonio maybe
They've got the
might
assets
be
to move to match it, but yeah.
might be an option. Golden State doesn't need them. But really, I think out of all those teams that are better in the Knicks, at least playoff-wise, and might see if they add a player like D Rose that might help their playoffs, it's really San Antonio. And I don't think San Antonio's going to do that because I don't think Pop wants that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a lot of headache.
Cleveland could, and here's the thing, and to me, when Dave brought up Cleveland, they're a team that I'm not saying like, oh, Cleveland's the one you go and trade with, but what has LeBron said this team needed?
They need a
point
backup,
guard.
but money-wise is what we're bringing up.
And what I'm thinking is I'm looking at the trade machine right now, and Derrick Rose just over $21 million, but it's only for 1 year. So after that, it's off the books. Cleveland obviously would not re-sign Derrick Rose, and obviously you're not going to trade your big three contracts of Love, LeBron, and Kyrie. But Tristan Thompson, he is a $15 million contract.
You can't give up Tristan Thompson.
Shumpert has a $9 million. Fry has a $7 million.
You can't give up Fry either.
Yeah.
He's deadly shooting on the outside.
There are players on this team, though, with contracts, and you could maybe package one of them with some of the lower guys. I'm saying it could work. It's not impossible.
It's not
That's what I'm
impossible,
saying.
but
it would hurt
stupid.
yourself more
it's
than
idiotic.
It would help. Channing Frye is one of the best catch and shoot players who can stretch the floor in the NBA right now. He's a perfect match for that team. And Tristan Thompson
and I
is
just
the
want to
only
make sure I'm
way
not
they can
saying
stay
like,
in
oh,
rebounding.
go ahead and make it. I'm just trying to show that it's possible.
Really?
And it's not like, oh, this ain't going to happen because it's impossible money-wise.
It's like, yes, I mean, they could move players, but the moves would be idiotic.
Yeah, I mean,
we
we could trade LeBron for him.
Yeah, we could trade
I
LeBron.
just said
Technically,
you're
it's
not
possible.
going to trade your top three, though.
The only name that you threw out there that I'd be like, yeah,
Shumpert,
was Shumpert, because you bring in Kyle Korver and you already have JR, so when JR becomes healthy, but even then, I would rather have Shump than D Rose because they already have chemistry, and you're kind of just forcing a fit because you think, oh, I need a backup point guard, but you already have Kyrie Irving, you already have LeBron James. I think you're just adding. I think it's just kind of the rich get richer, but it's too rich where you go bankrupt or you forget, like, oh wait, we have offshore stuff and we're gonna get in trouble because the FBI is finding it. I think you're fucking with too much there. And I think,
like where you're going, Sean. Though with the East being as weak as it is, I think that there is the potential. All they have to do is make the playoffs. And then in a series, who knows what's going to happen? You could get old Carmelo to come back. You get old Derrick Rose to come back, where they play like studs. You get Brandon Jennings to turn back the clock too. Like any one of these things goes right, and they're instantly competitive with any team.
Let me throw this out. Let's say the Knicks make the 8th seed. They go up against the Cavs. Is that going to be a competitive series in the playoffs?
No, unless Carmelo returns to Nuggets form. And
because really that's what you're shooting for.
But the thing that we're trying to say is the Knicks can, if all of this happens and Carmelo's able to come back and KP shows that what he truly is, and he takes from a prospect to the next level, and he goes to the next level there, and Derrick Rose goes back to MVP Derrick Rose, then that makes New York.
Think he's gonna go back to that?
No, but we're saying there's three what ifs there.
Yeah, it's the fact that he's shown that he can do it for short periods of time already this year.
But the point,
if you can get him right,
and what I'm trying to hint at is after what just happened. Is that a possibility?
No, it's not. But again, there's so many what ifs. What I'm trying to say, though, is if those happen, you don't need to bring D Rose back. And if you're able to make the playoffs and make a run, that makes New York favorable again. Because look, oh, hey, they all got it together. Phil might know what he's doing. Oh, wait, this is New York. We have a huge market. I have the ability to take myself to the next level, at least from a superstar potential, a guy who can sign. God forbid, like Gordon Hayward goes there. I'm just throwing out names, but a guy who's with a running out contract, CP3, or a buddy in Carmelo, and you see Carmelo comes back, and you get out D Rose and you bring in CP3, because CP3 is like, oh, whoa, look at New York now. Look at what New York did.
No one
in the
wants
playoffs.
to play for a loser.
No one wants to play for a loser, exactly. So if you're able to get something out of the playoffs, something, you get past the first round and you look good against a team. You don't win or take them to 7, but you look good against a team. That makes the New York favorable. Again, that doesn't mean New York is looking down, even though you could possibly go back to the basement the next year.
Yeah, I look to get something out of him, and don't just have him walk at the end of the year. Well, that's what's going to happen.
But really, we only found one fit that would make sense for D Rose, and that's San Antonio. But San Antonio, again, money-wise.
I see a team on the outside who's looking to take a risk and try to propel themselves into the playoffs.
Sacramento.
And that's the thing.
Sacramento makes a lot of sense.
This wouldn't come down
to... That just fits the dumpster fire.
Yeah, that's just more dumpster.
This wouldn't come down to... This wouldn't come down to, oh, what's a good fit for Derrick Rose, it's going to come down to the Knicks saying, what are we getting? Because we don't care about his fit.
And that's the thing. I don't think there's enough to say D Rose
We don't
is going to be. There's not enough value out there.
We don't know what's going to happen as teams get desperate towards the trade deadline.
I don't think $21 million for a guy with this many emotional issues is going to happen. I think that
traded though.
I think that we agree that Knicks fans should want him out just because of his immaturity and really he's not worth all of this. I mean, if I didn't show up to my job and I didn't tell anyone, I get fired. I don't get a $200,000 fine because if I get a $200,000 fine, I'm not able to pay that back.
Well, yeah.
But really, I mean that's just unprofessionalism. You just can't leave. And if you're sending him from a place in New York to out west, God forbid, you send him to like L.A. I'm just saying, completely further from Chicago, you're screwed. You're completely screwed. And this guy can't even stay in New York. Really, the only place you could ship him is back to the Midwest, so he can drive from Indianapolis back to Chicago, or drive from Milwaukee back to Chicago.
Let's just keep him the fuck out of Chicago.
Maybe Tom Thibodeau will want him back.
Yeah, let's keep him out of here.
Maybe. Dave's minds blown. Should Knicks fans want Derrick Rose as we wrap this up?
No, they shouldn't want him, but you should keep him on the team. See if something happens throughout the end of the year.
Let the contract
You got
run
time,
out.
yeah.
Get him the fuck out of town. That's what I'm saying.
I'm in the We Agree podcast back in full swing. I feel like just let it run out, see what you can get from him, but don't sign him. Re-sign him next year. That's really where I am this
Depends
year.
on his value at the end of the year. I mean, I wouldn't say no to anything at this point.
Thank you. Oh, shit. It's just one of our videos scared me a little bit. Don't forget to check out that one. And also don't forget to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.